Gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another episode here at Fruitfully Honest in Fruitville, Florida.
Fruitville, Florida.
Fruitville, Florida.
Repping the corners.
I am Robert Jones.
And I'm Jack Caroselli.
And we are here to rock your world because I'm Rob Bass.
And I'm DJ something that you said earlier.
Easy Rock.
Easy Rock, that's me.
Yes, it takes two to make this podcast.
It takes
go
two
right.
to tango.
Yes, it does. Okay, so basically, here's what we got going on. We got a new series going. In this series, we will cover the 2016 presidential election. Okay,
But in a different way. Because
And,
in the past,
because
we've sort of talked about it overall.
yeah, we're not going to do it like I know there's another podcast here at this building that we are located at that does political stuff. So shout out to them. I forgot their name. I think it has to do something about being like politically correct or something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. I don't know. But basically, we're in this series. We're just going to run through each of the candidates, and we're going to give our opinions on them.
Yeah, it's going to be a candidate spotlight.
And then at the end, because there's only 5 of them, we didn't want to do this when there were 17.
Right.
So we're just going to keep this nice and short.
Yeah, I mean, we are far enough into election season, so we know like 90%, I guess you could say, of what we need to make a strong voting decision.
Yeah. So Jack,
that being said,
I'm gonna let you get into your intro and your thoughts. One
Right.
second.
Okay, so that being said, this series is going to focus on one candidate at a time. So we're going to take a deep dive into each person. In the past, we've only done an episode, and we sort of batted around each other. But this is going to really dive into one at a time. And obviously today, we're going to look at the chaos candidate himself, Sir Donald J. Trump.
Mr.
Donald J. Trump. Got it.
John
Rough.
Joseph Trump
Jerry.
Sr.
Bill.
Okay,
Bill Trump.
So here's the deal. I think that Donald Trump is a breath of fresh air in this election. He is a candidate that we have never seen before. He's kind of like Ross Perot, but he's bigger than Ross Perot. Like Ross Perot was a rich guy who ran in like the 1992 elections and costed George Bush the election and gave it to Bill Clinton. He was an independent. He ran on kind of the same principles as Donald Trump. He was a little weaker on immigration, but the same economic stuff that has to do with trade and everything. But I think that Donald Trump has brought forward many new issues that have never been really talked about and explained in full capacity as far as the current trade deals that the United States has and its immigration policy. And I think that his candidacy, run for president, is something that has kind of put a dent in the political Republican establishment, and it's kind of woken them up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, see, for me, Donald Trump is the ultimate iffy candidate because, part of me, like you said, he's a breath of fresh air. He's not a politician. He's not in their pocket. And I don't think there's much I hate more in terms of people other than criminals than politicians because they're pretty bad criminals themselves. But Donald Trump, some of the things he says are a little insensitive in my eyes, and I don't know if it's really appropriate if you're going to be the leader of the free world to say some of the things he says in the context in which he says them. It's okay to have those opinions and strive for those policies, but the way he says them sometimes are a little bit disrespectful. But let's go ahead and get right into this whole thing. Obviously, the main thing a lot of people look at when they look at Trump is his money situation. So, essentially, in a regular campaign, right, you have super PACs and everything like that donate to your campaign. You have outside groups. But Donald Trump is not like that at all. 95 to 97% of his campaign is self-funded. His top donor, I actually did a little bit of research here. His top donor on his campaign is Manchester Financial Group at $50,000. That's the top.
$50,000.
Right. and we're talking Donald Trump, the front runner. That's his top donation.
Now, Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton have collected hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
Okay? So, Jack, how is it that this guy who is completely self-funded, who spent a little under, I think, what is it, like $25 million?
Yeah, $25 million
campaign.
from his pocket.
From his pocket, he has spent on his campaign, and the dude is first place. How is this possible?
I mean, I really don't know. Like, in total, just under $2 million of his $36 million into his campaign. He has $36 million invested in this.
Self-funded.
Right. Just under $2 million is from outside groups. The rest is either his campaign committee or straight from his pocket. And like I said, $25 million straight from his pocket. And when I was looking at that, he has zero money from PACs, zero money from federal funds. If you're putting $25 million into something, I damn well better trust you, because he's not doing this as a joke. No one's going to spend $25 million just to play around and be the chaos candidate.
But Jack, you got to also listen to this. Well, the liberals, what they're going to say is, oh, well, he's one of these rich guys on Wall Street that make all this money off of the backs of Americans and the backs of Mexican immigrants. What do you say to that?
I mean, that's probably a thing. That's probably true. But still, $25 million is a lot of money, even though he is a multi-billionaire. Even though that may be just minuscule to the money he has.
Yes.
Anyone who's willing to spend $25 million to quote-unquote make America great again, which we'll talk about what that actually means in a little bit. But anyone who's willing to spend $25 million on anything deserves to be given some sort of a shot by everybody. And obviously he is.
And I don't know if you looked up his income statements over the past few years. I have them right here in front of me. When he filed his government paperwork, they reported that he owns over $8.1 billion worth of real estate and investments.
Oh, yeah.
They also said off of those investments, he makes on average $200 to $500 million a year. So
yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
His net worth's over $4 billion.
Yes, it is.
That's the highest of any candidate I think I can ever think of.
That's ever ran for president. That's
sort of the consensus there.
So let me bring up this point with his money. He has all the money in the world. He has the family. He has the success. He has the fame. I don't think he really has much intentions other than to do good.
Right. That's my only worry.
Because if you... No, I mean, he has a lot of... I think he only has good intentions to do good. Because if you have all this money and power, why would you throw that all away for a job that pays $400,000 a year, that is stressful, and that takes up 4 years of your life?
My only concern, and this is really far-fetched, but when I look at some of the things Donald Trump says about protests being awful for America, he said that once, and he said he wanted to block the internet so bad things can't slip through. That's fascism. And yeah. I don't want to jump to call him a fascist, because I really don't think he is. I just think he says things that he doesn't really think about before. Because he doesn't have that political filter.
Also, yes, he's a lot like his podcast. He's fruitfully honest.
Oh, he's fruitfully honest.
If you want to say that, but he basically lives his life with no regrets.
Right.
And then also, I think he's very smart in the way he handles himself with the media, because every little thing that he says
is picked apart.
It's picked apart, and this is what I mean. If he's at a rally and he says, okay, I want to place a temporary ban on Muslims entering the country until we get our situation figured out, the media reports it as Trump wants to ban all Muslims.
Right.
Does that make sense to you, Jack? That makes no sense to me at all.
It doesn't. I still don't think that's necessarily right, just to ban one, because that is prejudice. Even it is reported
if it's
wrong.
Temporarily, so that we can get our national.
I still believe that's prejudice, just because it's targeting a religion, and even though the security is an issue, you can't do that. You can't just not allow people in solely because they are a Muslim. I just can't.
And maybe this
Support
is
that.
maybe this is where we disagree, because I believe if you look at the stats of the bombings and everything, it's coming from the Middle East. It's coming from ISIS. So I mean, like, why would we let all these people in without vetting them, like we currently do, because we're American and we're just a free place? I think that he's right about that. They should place a temporary ban on people entering the country until they get the situation figured out.
I mean, I could say
No Syrian refugees. That's what I'm saying.
I think honestly, to me, I would rather just ban everyone from coming in than just Muslims.
That makes sense.
Because there's a lot of people who, let's be honest, don't meet the Muslim stereotype.
But they could still be crazy.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. It's all it takes is a little bit of recruiting, and so these people from Turkey,
yeah.
like that.
Let's talk about his stance on immigration and the border.
Okay.
So this is his fishiest topic. This is what's gotten him the most recognition. I'm being like a libertarian and everything. I really don't care about that much about immigration, but it's kind of like getting to the point where, like, they're pushing the envelope. Like if
Right.
there's 1 million people coming over every month, and that's 12 million people a year that have no paperwork, that pay no taxes. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean
That
it's a
doesn't
sticky
sound so good
topic.
to me. That doesn't sound.
For me, the main thing I want to look at is his stances, his actual stances on policies, because a lot of the criticism he gets is that he never speaks explicitly.
Yeah.
He always speaks in, riddles or whatever,
Yeah.
or just super vaguely.
Like if you ask him a question, like, Donald, what's your opinion on abortion? He'll say, well, I haven't really given that topic a lot of thought, but I know my background is great. I build buildings. Manhattan, I've turned the place around completely. It's a great place. He gives
Right.
answers like
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
He
I
changes
wrote
the
down a
topic
couple of
and
these buzz statements. He's build a wall. I mean, that's kind of not really explicit. He's just, I'm gonna build a wall. Okay,
Mexico
cool.
is going to pay for it.
Right, and he always says we're gonna win. What the hell does that mean? We're gonna win, and we're gonna win so much you're gonna be sick of winning. Let me tell you, it's gonna be amazing.
We're going to win a trade.
Make America great again. That's his slogan.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Well, it was Ronald Reagan's slogan back in 1980.
Right.
When he ran for president. So.
I don't even know. See, my worry with that is like, what? Make America great again? What is that? What is it? What made us great?
I mean, honestly, we probably should have incorporated that video that we saw in class a few days ago. We'll have to post the link to that.
Yeah, we'll
But
put that down in the description.
That guy, I think he basically nails it on the point as far as what the country was founded upon. And even though those rights weren't for everybody at that time, I think there were still some pretty good ideals.
Right, and he always also
What
says
we should do.
we always lose. China's killing us. He says things like that because he is a businessman and he's smart with that. He uses buzzwords. But I dug deeper and found some of his actual policies and stances. The main one I like is ISIS. Now, I have a quote here from CNN.com, and it's directly from Donald. It says, I say that you can defeat ISIS by taking their wealth. Take back the oil. Once you go over there and take back that oil, they have nothing. You bomb the hell out of them, and then you encircle it, and then you go in. And you let Mobil go in, and you let our great oil companies go in. Once you take that oil, they have nothing left. So for me, it's sort of a stance, sort of a plan, but also still, I took apart this statement. It's circled. They have nothing. He said that twice in that short little bite.
Yeah.
He said oil a lot. He said great oil companies taking their wealth.
Yeah.
So he is a businessman and he knows how to sell you on this.
So my problem with what he was saying is the oil wasn't ours to begin with.
Right.
If I'm sure, maybe it should be returned to the people who it actually belongs to. So.
Yeah, I mean, see, he sort of makes the statement like it's supposed to be interpreted as explicit, but it's still really not. So if all I get from this is you want to go over there and bomb them, so that you can take back their oil.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the whole
Um,
plan for ISIS, which is kind of what everyone else says.
Yeah. So, Jack, is he electable?
I mean, I really do think so. I think he is.
Okay.
For different reasons than a lot of people. I think his thing on jobs is pretty implicit. I'll bring back jobs and I'll bring back our money. Is a quote from him. He wants to end Common Core. It's a disaster. It has to be education has to be local. He's a pro-life guy. I disagree with that, but not.
Yeah, I'm pretty pro-choice.
Yeah, I'm pro-choice.
Yeah.
He says yes to medical marijuana in terms of recreational. He wants to leave that up to the states, which I think is okay for right now
That
because
works.
it's still a pretty rough situation. In terms of energy, he thinks climate change is a hoax and we should keep pumping the oil. It's our lifeblood, is what he calls it. That's pretty much what I got on him in terms of his stances. Climate change being a hoax is a pretty shallow thing to say just because there's so much evidence. But I do think he is, to me, other than John Kasich, he's the most electable Republican.
Yes. I like John Kasich.
He's a good guy.
So, speaking of John Kasich, next episode, we're going to talk about Hillary Clinton.
So speaking of John Kasich.
So, speaking of John Kasich.
Yeah, next
gonna talk
episode
about
we'll
Hillary
be
Clinton.
we'll be going in on Hillary. That email scandal that Obama said he's not going to do
All
anything
the
about.
money that the Clinton Foundation takes in.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about all of that
Yeah.
next
So,
time.
Gentlemen and ladies, until next time, just chill for the next episode.
We'll see ya.